TV, and it's already been 10 years that you're in the business.
Yes,
Yeah. Tell us a little bit, again, the particularities. What made you come into that business and what's unique?
Only if you interrupt me in time, because I speak a lot.
Okay.
But basically, I was studying architecture. It was my dream since I was 8. I knew that's my advantage. I always know where I want to go. That's a good thing. But during my studies, I came interested in ornamentation, like the details in architecture, but also in watches, because I had a roommate who had beautiful shoes, and he said, I need to show you how these are made, because your clothing is nice, it's a nice attempt, but I'll show you some good stuff. And then I thought, that's great, I need to learn everything about stitching, etc. And I need a pocket watch, because it's classic English style. So I bought a pocket watch, I didn't know anything about it, opened it up, so it was an Omega from 1929, and I was like, boom, that is everything I like in architecture in small. And the good thing is I can take it with me. So I started collecting watches and learning to repair them autodidactly, because I still studied. I had a job on the side at an architectural firm, and everything went into vintage watches and learning to restore. And then at a certain point, 2013, or 12 actually, I started designing, because through architecture I came through 3D printing, and I thought, hey, all these nice designs which I liked, especially 1940s and 50s, all these things I can now elevate in a way, maybe more freedom in design, because these 1950s American watches, they had the beautiful curves, etc. And then go further than that and make it architecture. And that's how I started. I got approached by Materialize at the time, was the biggest firm in printing in Europe. And they said, we want to help you with that process. And I sold all my watches and spent everything. I still graduated architecture, but I knew, two things. I knew I wanted to perceive this and try, because I didn't have any responsibilities at the time. And my plan B is plan A again, so it's always one thing. And in architecture I was disappointed, because my life, I've been taught by my parents, is to chase beauty. And I saw the role of the architect after the financial crisis completely declined. And with a watch, sorry to say so for everybody who feels differently, but a watch is just a stupid object. It's a piece of beauty. It's absolute. You don't need it, but that's why you can do so many creative things with it. The challenge is, though, that it's small. So what I try to do is what I like in architecture, and think of a Gothic cathedral, for example. You walk into it and the space overwhelms you. And then you look into the details and you see all these very small ornaments which are in the same design language, and everything helps to elevate the building. I can literally cry in such a building. If I can achieve something which is coming close to that in a watch that you can wear with you, then I've reached it, which I will probably never will, because it's so small. So the effect is less. But at least I can try until I die. Yeah. So that's I need to continue. Yeah.
I like this idea. Yeah. Good energy coming out of you. And So then it started to become serious.
Yes, yeah. So I graduated. It was very difficult, because all the attention was to watches. I need to say I'm fascinated by ruins in architecture, and therefore you will see some materials and ways of using materials in our work. But I got my first client during my graduation project. I discussed with my teacher, and he said, yeah, you should work on that. And he bought it instead of a wedding ring. And I didn't know him. So I thought, hey, somebody likes it, and for such an important thing, that gave me the push basically to chase it. I launched the brand in 2016, so 10 years ago, and from there on started working with 3D printing. It was very, very difficult. Reactions were very bad, actually, because especially in those photos, like it looks very rough. You need to see it in the flesh. And I tried to polish the first case. Like, that was my first case, polished. But then people were looking in the sides and saw the raw textures from the printer. And they were criticizing the precision of the printing technique and said, yeah, it's not effective. And then I thought, yep, it is not effective. It's a watch. Look at it from a different perspective. It's a design feature. So I thought, okay, then I'm going to make a full raw watch. And from there it developed. And then I started getting orders. And working alone, doing everything myself. My first atelier, I didn't have any money, so I had my first atelier at the mattress in the back with a curtain around it so the journalists wouldn't see it. And then in 2020, Damian, who is also here today, he joined. And then I totally was overflooded with work because 20 watches for me was overflooding already. And because the watches took like 80 hours to, like 40 hours to polish, and then, well, the rest, of course. So I became overworked, and I asked people to help me, and everybody was saying, yeah, we want to. And those people are still with me. We're now 15 people. And from my second year, 2017, I was already starting on the design, which is here in front of us. Because if you want to create architecture, good architecture is it's inside out, it's integrated, it's a whole holistic concept. So if I want to have that in a watch, then I need to design the movement. And to do full freedom, you need to be able to create everything within that movement. So that was the next challenge, is how do you become, like, from a designer to also a creator. So with the team we gained more knowledge, fortunately, and I learned a lot myself as well. And now we're the first ones in the Netherlands to do a serial production movement created in the Netherlands. So it's actually built in the Netherlands. And we are setting up, I think, the most beautiful workshop in the world, with manufacturing partially in-house, partially in Rotterdam nearby. We have a metal workshop. We have full finishing, like movement and cases, assembly, of course. So every step we do as much as possible in-house, and yeah, that's where I think that absolutely the future for this brand also is. Yeah.
And the 3D printing aspect, do you think is really kind of core to your approach? Or will you stick with that?
Yeah, that's actually a good question, because that's how people perceived us. Because in the beginning it was the way to differentiate. I was the first one to create a 3D printed steel watch ever, but it's never really how I wanted the brand to become known. It's a way to create a design, I imagine. So, for example, our entry-level model now is a CNC model. I thought of it, the design was designed with the idea like we're probably going to print it. But once I had the 3D model finished, I spoke to my engineer in the company, which actually that is possible if we mill it. It's very complex to mill, but it is possible. And with that, we create scalability, and it doesn't do any negative about the design integrity. So that's why the entry-level model is now a CNC mill, because design is first, and then you choose the technology. But knowing 3D printing, you can also design with that and use the advantages of that. And for example, you will not find 3D printed cases which has honeycomb openwork structures, for example, from us, because that thinks from a conservative standpoint in terms of the design, and then just opening up because it's 3D printed. So I would like 3D printing to be smartly integrated. So this is very organically shaped. You have these openwork structures, but all for the sake of elegance. I admire a lot, first of all, Art Nouveau, coming from France, Viollet-le-Duc, as a new way to think about building. But it's two things. Art Nouveau is an evolution of Gothical architecture, but it started using steel for ultra thin constructions. So that's why it's new art. But it also was the first time that spaces in a building got integrated. Like, this is stupid neoclassical, all consecutive square chambers, very boring. But Art Nouveau actually started to make fluent spaces, so you actually experience the architecture much more and you discover stuff. So that's important. You have new techniques and you have this spatial language. And then you have the integration of all, like Art Nouveau, like it's integrated design. It's like you have the little details everywhere. So this is why this piece, our first in-house piece, is called Ornement Nouveau, because it's everything that I would like to to communicate to our clients and people who might be interested. Like, this is the approach. So the bridges are stainless steel, but three-dimensionally milled and finished three-dimensionally, and it actually doesn't come with a box, but with a sculpture, which you can put. Actually, you hang the watch in, and you say, you just express this is an art piece, right? So that's the approach, and I think that's also never finished, right? You can continue upon that theme. So I tend to look more towards architecture and art and clothing designers. Like, I've just been to Iris van Herpen exhibition. She's super incredible what she makes. So, and that inspires mostly the shapes, etc. And then only I look at other watches, because also there's so many things coming out every time that it's very depressive, because how can I keep up with that pace? Like, it's you must feel that, right? So here you see like a spline. Like, this is organic. Yeah. So yeah. I can continue, by the way. So,
no, seriously, I really appreciate your approach, the journey. I think it's quite singular, and I really wish you the best of luck for the next 10, 20, 50 years.
I'm very thankful that you gave me this opportunity, seriously, because I said to you before the interview that it's organically grown. We never had funding or the funds to advertise or work as well. So this is really helping us as well. So thank you very much, and also all the supporters of the brand. So yeah.
Thank you again, and congrats, and the very best to you. Okay. Thanks. Bye, guys.